Welcome to Chalk Talk. I'm Joe White, and today I'm joined with someone who has already racked up almost 200 Southern League and Tool Station appearances at the age of 25, Mr. Joe Guest. How are you, mate?
All right, Joe. Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, all good, thank you. Well, listen, thanks for coming on. I know I've been pestering you a lot to get you on here, and you've kindly agreed at last after much persuasion, and I'm grateful for that. So thanks, mate. So let's kick right off with it. What are your earliest memories of football?
So earliest would be Yate Leisure Centre with a man called Mike, just soccer tots going.
Mike Jones.
That's the one. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Literally just going there, having a mess around with my granddad, taking me. Literally that's all it was. I think I was about 3, 4, something like that. And then, just moving on to local football, Yate United, and just playing there. Nothing really special, to be honest, early doors, but yeah, I just was all about enjoying it at the time.
Yeah, brilliant. What were you there? Were you a striker then, or have you always been a holding mid?
I was like centre mid everywhere, holding mid, but no, I was one of the better players, I'd like to say.
Were you?
I actually was, yeah, surprising, isn't it? But no, I was always in the B team at the 2. Did get asked to go into the A team, but just I enjoyed it with the group of lads we had. So
this is Yate United.
Yate United, yeah. So there's 2 teams and you play and that say, don't you? But yeah, just stayed in the second team because it's just how I enjoyed it, really.
Okay, so but then did you not progress up to the A team then? Because talking to a few people at work, they said you were one of the better players in school.
Well, I got asked to, but
right,
no, because the better players were in the A team and always probably will be. But I knew if I went into the A team, then you just don't look quite as good. So yeah, and they was always like, oh, the A teams play the A teams, B teams play the B teams, but that never was the case because like people would think, oh, we'll put our A team against their B team, beat a bigger scoreline, get an aggregate result. But because our B team's so strong, we always kept our own. So
okay,
yeah,
right. So moving on then, I know that Rovers youth team snapped you up when you were about 11, 12 years old. So was that from playing in the Yate United B team then?
It was a bit of that, and I done that Jamie Shaw for a bit. So I think it was a bit of a recommendation from that. And also mainly got scouted. They come and watch the tournaments, as they still do. Picked me up from there and went along for a trial. And I think it was like 3 sessions, and then they said straight away, "I'll come back. We want to have another look at you." And then I didn't go back straight away because I had a trial at City, went 1 session, never showed up again, hated it. You'll pick this up early because I went there and it was just egos and I didn't like that. So
yeah,
I got away from it and then went back to Rovers and probably about a month later signed up and was pretty regular in the team then.
Brilliant, good stuff. So I think you were at Rovers for 3 or 4 years, weren't you, before that come to an end? Well, how did you find that period?
Brilliant. Well, say brilliant. First 2 years were really good for me. Centre mid. I played a lot different how I play now. Put it that
Not
way.
holding mid, then actually centre mid.
Actually centre mid. Getting on the ball, passing it. Be shocked to hear. So the first 2 years was like we had such a good team. Like we used to go to like places like West Brom and Fulham and just beat them like easily.
Really, yeah.
We had so many good players.
What other players? Any notable names?
Well, a couple that have gone on decent would be like Donovan Wilson, he's at Sutton, Ryan Broom, Aaron Collins, who's Rovers striker now. But surprisingly, apart from Donovan, the other 2 weren't the best players there. Aaron actually got told he wasn't good enough at the time, and then went away, and now he's back at Rovers as their top striker or whatever. It just shows a bit of work in hard. Broomy was the same. Has worked his way up, and he's done well. But second 2 years after, you swap coaches in academy.
Okay,
As it progresses, you go up, and I think we had originally it was Danny and AD, and they loved me, and then it was Derek and Mo, and they started playing me more as a centre half.
Okay.
They were I don't know whether it was like how I played or I don't really know the reasoning behind it, but
were you tall then were you? Or
no. I was, if anything, I was smaller than I was, like, for my age. I was quite small.
Mascherano then.
Yeah, well, I could pass. It's so easy. You've got so much time on the ball. So
especially in academy football.
Academy football, no, like, they don't press you. It's I don't like academy football. I think it's a bit Mickey Mouse, because when you play like teams nowadays and they've got, like, you play the 23s and you're like, you can just bully them physically. Like, it's like all the little horrible tricks that I've picked up playing against other people, and you just do it against them and they hate it, and then they start crying about it.
And you've probably at the sort of level you've been playing at, you get to play against them sort of teams quite often, don't you? Play Bristol City or Bristol Rovers in their GFA Cups and things, and
come across them in pre-seasons as well. And as you know, like, I like taking things seriously. I take it very seriously, even in pre-season, just to wind them up a bit, and it puts them off their game as well, and that's half the battle, I think, in that my sort of standard.
Certainly.
Head, you've mentally got the edge on them, and we've played against, like, so we played Exeter, Yeovil, Forest Green, and like this, you play against like old centre mids. They cannot run.
No.
But they're so good on the ball, and they are horrible. But you don't like they be all friendly, and they're so good. But I've picked it up, and I like it being against people like that.
No, that's good. So, as we spoke about before we come live, you were saying obviously your time at Rovers comes to an end. You left before you got released. You didn't give them the satisfaction of releasing you. So just talk that. That sounds good. Talk about
that. So basically, I knew there wasn't much of a chance of me getting a scholarship at the time. You when you're in the academy, you know who is favourites.
Yeah.
Whether that's from higher up or management already. And I was just like, in January, I said to my mum, I was like, Mum, I'm not going to make it. I was like, I don't want them to tell me I'm not good enough. So I got out, literally just near enough stopped showing up. I didn't even really tell anyone. I used to car share with two lads who come from Yate United as well at the time, and we stayed there for 4 years, and I was like, I'm not coming again. I know I'm not good enough. And then just sort of ended it like that.
That's quite a bold move, isn't it? Because I think a lot of young lads will sort of, be the good apple and stay along and say the right things in the hope that they, I don't know, don't want to fall out with people. But it's quite a bold move and probably confident move from yourself to do that.
Yeah, it's a bit of both. I'm a very opinionated, as you probably know, and I just say what I think. And I just thought, why do I need someone to tell me that they think I'm not good enough? Because at the time I felt I was one of the, not the best players, but I thought I was in the top 5 or whatever. And some seasons you get 10 scholars go through, and I'm like, I was just unlucky that season. I think it was like 3 or 4 got given it.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm not having that. So I got out, spoke to a few mates who were playing for Yate Town under 18s, and they were like, just come along. So literally finished in January, and I went straight along. training, and
I bet you probably enjoyed that more to begin with.
yeah, I thought it was class because it was back with me. Still, it was a good standard.
Yeah,
because most of my mates are actually decent footballers, like actual. They've not many of them still play, but at the time they were all like wanting to be decent.
Yeah.
Few obviously everyone just falls out of love with it and don't quite make it and stuff, but it was just class. Just going and enjoying my football again, really.
Yeah.
And I think the academy football drains people, Joe. To be honest, unfortunately.
Yeah, it often does. Even people that sort of make it sometimes talk along those lines, and it can be very monotonous at times, can't you? You know, day after day, week after week, and being so disciplined.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
Yeah. No, good stuff. So obviously with Yate Town youth team, I presume you played for them for a couple of years then, and then it would probably come to the point where you're thinking about, because the Yate reserves would have been disbanded by then, wouldn't they?
No, they weren't.
Not quite.
No. So basically what I did was I went in the January to under 18s, and then I always played for the under 18s. I think we played on like I don't know if it was a Sunday or Wednesdays or something like that. And eventually it was like our under 18 sort of pushed up to the reserve team sort of thing. So we got some older lads in, like some people that wanted to like try and push on and get into the first team. But we essentially had a really young under 18s, reserve team. And yeah, and then there was like a select few that would miss the reserve games and go for the first team.
Yeah.
Which was like at the time Nigel Hawkins was massively involved, and what a bloke. He literally said, I like you, and he tried pushing me on very quickly.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, and then I was just on the bench quite a lot, but just wasn't quite gonna make it and get played enough for my liking at the time.
Yeah. Did you win a league at all with the youth team, or?
We won. It was like a cup. So it was like it was a league originally, but then we walked that. We were much better than all the other teams, to be honest.
Okay.
I think we won it I ended up doing 2 proper seasons under it, and we walked it both times. And then there was a cup competition which we always lost to Western.
Right.
In the final. 2 years lost to Western, and I think before I even went to the under 18s, exactly the same thing. They were just better.
They were quite tidy, yeah.
Yeah, they were always good. So,
and at that time, I think their youth team would have probably been filtering into a first team that were in the National League South, probably.
Exactly. Yeah. So it wasn't so bad knowing that there was players that were on the edge, playing a bit harder than us.
No, great. So obviously first experiences then with the Yate Town first team, obviously being a local lad as well, it's always nice, isn't it, playing for your sort of local men's team. How did the progression go from obviously not quite getting into the team? I think you went out on loan, didn't you, to Cadbury Heath?
Yeah.
Or Dual Reg, whatever they call it.
Yeah. I was always getting a text saying, "I'll come to Yate, come be on the bench for Yate," and all that. And it was like a bit of a mutual agreement. I was like, I need to play. I thought I'm not going to just keep going along.
Did you recognise that yourself, that you needed to play, or were other people telling you that? Or
yeah, because to be fair, at the start, like right at the start, Nigel kept saying to me, "Mate, bide your time, you will get an opportunity." And I was like, "It's brilliant," but I personally just want to play, and I've always said that to like even some. I'm 25, but some of the young lads, I'm like, you have to play. If you don't play, you just get bored, you lose confidence, and there's no good in sitting on the bench anywhere. So I was like, I need to play. And because Yate were in the Southern Division 1 at the time, I was like, if I drop down a league, that's Tool Station Western Prem.
Yeah.
So I ended up, I can't remember how I got hold of it, but I ended up going to Cadbury Heath.
Yeah.
With Andy Black, who again, great bloke. And literally just went there and played near enough every minute.
Great.
I loved it there. It's not the best pitch, but it sort of it made you made you grow up a little bit, and people were bigger and stronger and harder than you, so it was good.
Yeah. No, brilliant. So then, obviously, I first met you then when you come and play for Sodbury. Did you have a little period back at Yate, do a bit of a pre-season there, and then you had a year at Sodbury, didn't you, in that Toolstation Prem as well, didn't you?
Yeah, so went back to Yate to do the pre-season, and I was again. I can't remember how it come about. I think it was George Fox mentioned to me about going to Sodbury. Like, I'll come along for a session. I went along again. As soon as I enjoy something, I'm like, chuck everything into it. I'm like, yeah, that's for me.
Yeah.
Went along for one session at the Ride-ins and loved it. It was class, and I was like, yeah, I need a sign for the season. I was like, I dropped down from Yate, and I'm just going to play. And literally that season, we had such a good team. If that team was playing now, I reckon we'll walk that league fairly comfortably, to be honest. We had some players, even some of the lads that aren't playing.
Absolutely, yeah.
And everyone.
The likes of yourself, Boxy, Dave Sims, and people like that. Obviously, all lads that have done well at that level and gone on to play higher.
Yeah, everyone seems to. Everyone that's still playing has gone on. Quite a few people have stopped playing, like injuries, etc. Like Dale, for instance, Mike from centre halves. But you got like Josh Can still playing for Exmouth.
Yeah.
You got Simsy at Bath. You got George at Bradford. It's obviously you were right wing, and you could chuck a step over in every now and then, or
every now and then.
You had. But no, we had
slow over. I used to call him.
Yeah, it used to sell everyone. But yeah, what a team that was. Thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, I think to be fair, we had a good team spirit, didn't we? As well, I think
that makes it.
We'll go on to talk about that probably with Yate. But I think that's big, isn't it?
Massive.
So you had the year at Sodbury. Did you? I was talking to you before as well. Did you think that you weren't at that time then when you have to step down because you weren't quite getting starts for Yate? Did you feel like you deserved to be starting, or and I understand with a lot of young lads, and I have it now in my coaching, that a young player has to prove to a coach or manager that he's good enough to start, even if in that young player's mind he thinks, well, I'm better than them. If they've got no track record to go off or haven't sort of proven and have the trust of the manager, what sort of dynamic were you in? Do you think, I should be playing, or could you understand why you weren't?
I just didn't get given a chance. In all honesty, given a chance. You with Southern League, probably Western League as well, stuff like that. If you've had a name for yourself in the game and you drop down, for instance, or you've been around that level for a long time, you will automatically get paid over a younger player, unless like a team's seriously struggling and there's no one else to play, and then you step in and play brilliant. That is how it works. I've learned that quick because of it, and to be, it's not happened to me. But I just tell other lads, I said, I'll be honest with them. You're not playing because you haven't got a name for yourself. Yeah, you've been City, whatever. It doesn't matter.
No.
It's a different kettle of fish. Different. Another thing is, whoever's on the most money will get paid, because the chairman will get on the manager's back as, why are we paying that man that much money and not playing? It works out.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's great that you had the sort of, say, bravery, or that you had the wherewithal to be like, do you know what, I'm going to swallow my pride, step down a level, play a full season at Sodbury, and then move back up again. And you did that. Then you progressed on to Polton, didn't you? You went with, obviously, Gary went across there with John Rendell, didn't he? And you had a season at Polton, didn't you? So how was your first full season in the Southern League with Polton?
Difficult.
Okay.
It was a step up in class at the time. Obviously, Polton at the time, when we went over, because it was me, you, Josh Can, Dave Sims.
Yeah.
We all went from Sodbury with Gary, and we knew the budget was small. We're going from, we were, well, what we 8th or something at Sodbury, something like that, to go into playing for Polton, who didn't have a massive budget. And couldn't sign any massive like, I wouldn't say loads of big names in that league to help. So we were always on the back foot. It was really, I think we finished something like 17th overall in that season.
Right. Okay.
But it made me play a lot different. I'm always like a bit of a rat how I play. I just love running and tackling people, but I just thought, right, I need to have the best season I can, and hopefully something comes from it.
Yeah.
Like out of personal pride, whether I have another season at Polton or move on, or I was just doing it for myself as well. But I can't thank Gary and John for giving me that opportunity and at the time to step up. Really, it's
Yeah.
without that, no one would know who I was, if that makes sense.
No.
So
You probably needed that year, didn't you? In the sense that
yeah,
if you'd have just had a good season at Sodbury in the league below,
yeah,
probably wouldn't have maybe, because you're also, what probably doesn't help you is you play in a position where it's not just a case of, oh, I'm going to score 25 goals.
yeah.
You've got to try and stand out by other means, haven't you? And sometimes that's more difficult, because I know that a lot of managers will just, if they're trying to sign a player from the league below, they literally get the stats like, right, who scored 25 goals, let's sign them. Whereas obviously that it's not going to say that about you, is it? But
No, it's I always say, if you know football and you watch football, you will think I'm a good player. If you don't know about football, you will think, what does he do? He doesn't score, he doesn't assist. But it's just like the work rate. And I'm a 7 out of 10 every week. That's how I play. I get it, win the ball back for people, and just give it to better players to go and play.
yeah,
We lose it, I'll get it back.
yeah,
It's just what I've
effective.
Yeah, it's. I think I always say, if I play really well, we've got a really good chance of winning, even though I don't score or assist.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, that's what I believe.
No, good stuff. So obviously, off the back of that first season at Polton, then obviously I think you had a tough season. Polton obviously since gone on to progress up slightly over the years with John, haven't they? They're sort of up near in and around the playoffs now consistently, aren't they? So John's done a good job there. What happened then? Because obviously you got the move to Yate then, didn't you? How did that materialise? Back to Yate, should I say?
Yeah. So it's a bit of a funny one, because basically Simsy was at Polton,
yeah,
with for that season, and then wasn't quite getting in the team. So he ended up getting a move to Yate through Charlie Hitchens.
Yeah.
And then it was like, yeah, he sort of mentioned it to Polly at the time, and I don't think he was too interested. And then I sort of went along for pre-season, and it's quite funny because I went along for pre-season, and so we were obviously how low we were with Polton. I went along to pre-season, and I looked up and I thought, I recognise that lad. Josh Ford stood there, who was the centre half at Polton. We were both at Polton. It was finished 17th, and I thought, oh God, I really want to join Yate. And I thought, how are we going to do it being together? We just finished 17th.
Yeah.
But how being in a different team with different people, and to be fair, at Polton there was egos, which I touched on before. Whereas, yeah, I went to Yate, bit of a trial sort of thing. Played well, and then played every minute of that season.
Yeah, brilliant. So that first season, so you got promoted in that first season, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So up through the playoffs. So I'm always intrigued in sort of the details behind the scenes and stuff, and the tactics and things. I spoke extensively with Dares and Elliot Keatley as well about that promotion season. Obviously, you had just talk us through it, and things that went well. So I knew you had a great team spirit. Tactically, obviously, Polly was decent in the way he wanted to set you up. So just talk us through that.
Yeah. So it's the simplest thing in football. We didn't have the biggest budget, but but I
for
find
that league. For
that league, we had one or two players that were exceptional. But it was such a good group, and I don't think when Polly signs players, you don't realise who you're signing and how people are going to click together, and it worked so well. We trained Thursdays ish. We went to the pub quite a lot. There was a lot of drinking and just chatting and eating, and those training sessions were the best. We used to do 5-a-side. We used to speak a little bit about what we were going to do tactics wise after we had set up, which was a 4-1-2-1-2, and we didn't budge from that. That was our formation. That was how we're going to play. We've just.
So what was the thinking behind that? It's a very narrow formation. You played the 4. You had a diamond midfield, and you had 2 up front. You obviously sat at the base of the diamond, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't really know as to why we done it to start with, because I don't think it was. It was just who we had. We had a lot of centre mids. So you had me, you had Jack Twyman, Adam Price, Des, Sam Kamara. We had someone else, but we felt like we had to get play
your best players
to an extent, yeah. With what we had at the time, and it just worked. And as soon as it started working, don't change something.
Yeah.
And we just all ran our absolute nuts off for each other.
Sure.
You had the quality, like I said, so we had Adam Price. So it's me, Pricey, Jack Twyman, and Des. So me and Jack were just ratters, basically. Get it, give it. Then you had Pricey and Des, who had the quality.
Sure. But Des is a maybe not a ratter as such, but he's got that physical presence, and he'll win his headers and tackles and stuff.
That helped us massively at the time because he was playing as a 10, but like a very, very deep 10. So, but when we were struggling, you could play that long ball, and he would win the flick on.
Yeah, sure.
That got us up so high. Then we had like Ollie Simsey up front. Ollie, to be fair to him, on his day, I think he's so underrated because he's been around quite a lot of non-league clubs.
Yeah.
But he's still, to be fair, he's settled at Yate and he's doing really well. But that season, he was brilliant.
Yeah. He's got good pace and a good feet,
and
he can score a goal.
He can take people on, and that's massive. And being quick, he won so many, because Des won so many flick-ons, he getting behind because of that.
Yeah.
He should have scored a hell of a lot more goals that season because we created a lot of chances. But I think he still scored like 18 to 20 goals.
Yeah.
And then you had Simsey, then you had Des was double figures, Pricey was double figures.
And you also had Mike Bryant as well, didn't you?
Mikey Bryant was quality. Yeah. He's so quality. To be fair, stiffest bloke you'll ever meet. But technically brilliant and can hold a ball up. He was quality. Honestly, and even the ones like, so you had Mason Evans right back, quality right back, just hard as nails. A bit, to be fair, he's very raw like me, and he's not technically the best on the ball, but you don't need to be, as long as you work your nuts off and can get up and down, which he was so fit. 40 at the back, shouting his head off. Was like the hard as nails, different to Bolton's season, was enjoying it. Sammy Bolton next to him. Left back, we had Els or Josh Can originally. Both were so just steady.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to attack silly amounts. But Josh had class on the ball, but to be fair, didn't get played as much as he should have. Els was just solid. Again, get it. You had Pricey in front of you, give it to Pricey, or look for Ollie down the channel. And then the one that got very much left out was Lewis Thomas, who was on loan from Forest Green, best keeper. To be fair, you will play with. He was immense that season. Yeah, so he should. How he's not playing higher than League Two, but he's not even playing half the time. So,
yeah. So would you say that promotion season? Would you say you were a high pressing team, or you dropped off more, or?
We tried to press high.
Yeah.
I think it was a case of. So we always started pressing really high, and then, like, Des couldn't run as much as because the pitch is massive.
Yeah, yeah.
But I always say in every team you need that bit of quality.
Yeah.
So you don't mind him not running around is not like let us. I'll do that. Jack will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We weren't neither. I don't think we would try to be, but we weren't neither, in my opinion. But yeah, as soon as would come into the middle third, that's when I don't want you past that section. In my opinion, that's my area.
Yeah, sure.
So
no, good stuff. So obviously you must have really good memories from that season and playing for your hometown club, and obviously winning in the playoff final like you did in front of a huge crowd. How was that experience?
Quality, absolutely quality.
Best experience in football so far?
Yes, it was. So I was gutted because we were doing so well, and then we just slipped off to Blackwood and Langley.
Yeah. They
had one player, basically, a striker, who just managed to get him over the line. I got banned for 5. I think it was 5 games at the end of the season for being a bit. I got sent off, and then I said something in where Yate is. I said
in the French language, in a different language.
Yeah, I said something that I shouldn't have said, and the referee overheard and then put a complaint in, etc. It went down that route, big fine, and banned. Never again. Learned my lesson. But yeah, missed 5 games, and we didn't do very well in those 5 games. I think we lost 3.
It's your fault you didn't get automatic then.
A little bit. We had to win all those 5 games to stay in, so I wasn't quite as gutted. But the playoffs, in my opinion, is a better way to go up.
Yeah.
We had the massive crowd against Cinderford. I can't even. Do you know who we beat in the semis?
Not off the top of my head. No. Was it?
No.
I'm not entirely sure.
I honestly can't remember. But whoever it was, I think we beat them fairly comfortably, and then we beat Cinderford 2-1.
Yeah. Wasn't it a team from London that you beat in the semis?
It must have been. So if I can't pick them out, it's not a local team, is it?
Yeah.
But yeah, beating Cinderford, it was over 1,000.
Comfortably over 1,000. Wasn't it more like 1,500? I think.
Yeah. Probably. To be honest, I zoned it out a little bit.
Yeah.
There was loads of people there, but.
Did you take a pen in the?
No.
No, you avoided that, did you?
No, not for me. I missed a penalty when I was younger in Denmark. Never took one since. Never will. So
might have to one day.
I might have to one day, and I can guarantee you now I'm going to miss. So
I reckon you might score, mate. So I reckon you might score it. No, good stuff. So obviously, great times at Yate, and off the back of that, then did you have a year in the league above? Yeah, obviously, it was a tough season, wasn't it? The first season, in the league above again, probably with a smaller budget than most teams in that league.
Yeah, again, that was hard season. To be honest, didn't enjoy that season one bit. We signed Jake Lee, which was Dez's mate, who come from Western. Was a good player. He come as a striker. Ended up playing centre half. It was good centre half. But as a team, we weren't good enough. We changed formation. Pricey didn't play. Jack Twyman left. It was just difficult. We weren't good enough for the step up at the time. I think we were like 16, but we were going to stay up. So
And then, of course, the COVID hit, didn't it?
Yeah, COVID hit, so that cut an end to that. I think, was it 10 games left, 12 games left? But we would have stayed up. But when you go up a league, that's sort of what you got to expect, to be honest.
Yeah, sometimes you need that sort of stabilising period, don't you, just to familiarise yourself with the league and
yeah.
You know.
But it got Yate up into the Prem and stayed for, well, they're still there now, which is good. And because it's local, it's just, I want Yate to be as high as they can. It's a minute away from my house, so
sure.
I'm glad they stayed up. Well, we
play for them again one day.
Monday. Monday. Don't put me on the spot.
So you get the move to Taunton then off of that. Talk us through that.
So I got a message from Michael Meeker saying, "Give me a call," and I thought, bit of a wind up here. But when we played Taunton, he was watching and very knowledgeable about football.
Sure.
Very. We beat him both times, and I played well, and I like playing against local teams. Always have, whether I know them or not, I just like beating local teams. Always have, like the Tauntons, the Yates, the Swindons, Tivies, Murphers, like places like that. I just want to beat them because it's close. And just played really well. And then got a text, and he said, "We want to sign you. We're losing a lot of players, and we're going to go with a complete new team." So I thought I'll have a chat and see what it's about. And at the time, quite a lot of players had left from Yate. I was speaking to Polly, and Polly's like about being captain at Yate, and it was so tough. But we literally had 3 players, and I thought, I can't take this on my shoulders. I was 23.
Yeah.
No, I need to move on. So I moved to Taunton, which, at the first season we lost to Tunbridge Angels, 4th qualifier. We weren't doing brilliant in the league. We were like 7th, 6th, but then COVID hit again, and that season is a bit of a blur because any COVID season, I just wrote it off. I was fed up of it all, to be honest. So, that's near enough how it went. Just by one phone call, and travelled down there and literally just spoke to Rob Dre, the manager. Said a figure. And I like my money.
Yeah.
We sorted something out.
Yeah, brilliant. Obviously, I know the travel's quite a lot, but there's a few lads you live share with, isn't there?
Yeah. So now, so originally what it was me, Michael Meeker from Bristol, Ross Staley, and Dan McBean. Okay. So there was 4 of us travelling down. So it was good. It's just easy. Always meet at Cribs, Miller and Carter, and it's just easy. Everyone thinks, you're going to Taunton, you only live a minute away from Yate. It's not as bad as people think. Okay. The only bad thing is if we've got a really far away day but we don't train till when we do train, we don't train till 7. So I got to leave at 6. So it's easy for me leaving work, self-employed. So yeah.
No, good stuff. So this season you're doing really well, aren't you? Up in and around the playoffs. You're in the playoffs at the minute, I think, aren't you? And you've got some games in hand. And looks like, on the cards to have a successful season, hopefully. And it'd be great if you could have another successful sort of promotion campaign on your CV as a player. You play a bit of an interesting formation there, though, don't you? I've spoke to you 1 or 2 times about it. You play a 3-5-2, don't you, quite a lot? Yeah.
So that is our formation. We got 3 good centre halves. So it's the way Meek's like setting us up as a coach. Mm-hmm. So we've got good at playing a 3-5-2. We do know there's games where we are very direct.
Okay.
We do pass the ball, but all the management like us playing higher up and then playing our football, which is fair enough. Pitches are disgusting.
Yeah.
This time of year for one. But it's just that's what is drilled into us. We do switch at times to a forward at back if a team, which happens all the time, scouts and they've got ways of playing to combat it. As soon as we change, they struggle again. We go to like a 4-3-1-2 sort of thing. Push Benno centre half into centre mid. He used to play there for Bath, so he's very good at it. But yeah, 3-5-2 is originally our formation.
Yeah. So you're playing in midfield at the moment with. Are you playing with Ross Stern and Lloyd James? I believe, is that right?
Yeah. So
that's a decent midfield.
It's not too bad. It's not too bad. They weren't there at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Lloyd, Sterney came in first. Sterney came in, I reckon, 13, 14 games ago. And then Lloydie joined, well, I know it's 10 games ago because a little stat of me, Ross and Lloydie together, played 10, drew 1, won 9. You change too bad.
Nice stat.
Yeah, not too bad, but they're class. Sterney has got
Who
me.
sits more then, you or Lloyd?
Lloydie. They set us, so this is funny because they set us up as me and Lloydie and Sterney in front.
Sure.
It don't work because players, other teams always has like 2 holders. So if I sit off as well, then
you need to put pressure on them. Yeah.
So I do get, because it looks like I'm back. I'm also really far forward all the time. Like I just run around a lot. But yeah, I like the higher I can get up, the higher I can press.
Yeah.
And Sterney's obviously a bit older now. So this is what I was saying about a Des. They've got the quality that you don't mind them running not as much. But if they don't produce the quality, that's when you go mental at them. That's sort of what I've always said to him. I said, you've got to do the bits. And he's done it since he's come in. And then the protectiveness of Lloyd behind me, who's just class. He's got the class. Again, he's older, but cannot run as much. But when he gets it, he don't lose it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
it works.
And he's had a good career in the league and stuff. And
very good, very knowledgeable, and I just like it that again you expect ex-pro to be a bit big time, and he not at all. Great bloke. Talk to you about anything.
Yeah, no, because my old man coached him for a few years at Southampton, years ago, and he's he started off obviously broken into the first team at Southampton. He's blooming good player, mate. So it's nice for you to be playing alongside him there at Taunton for sure. Good stuff, mate. Well, that more or less about wraps up what we've been talking about. So plans moving forward then? Do you think you can play in the league above?
Yes. Not gonna lie, yeah, I do. Obviously Simsy's moved there and said I could. Lloydie's done it, said I could. So I run around, I edit, I kick it, I knee it. I feel like I can do it. Higher, yeah. Hopefully we'll go up this season. If not, maybe someone might take a punt on me. If not, I'll make sure I get there. 25, a couple of years of what they say coming into your prime. So as long as I stay fit, touch wood, I'd like to give it a go.
Yeah, brilliant. No, good stuff, mate. Well, thanks very much for coming on. You've been listening to Chalk Talk. Please like and subscribe this video if you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon for a new episode.